Hi, we'll finish Carnival at Candlelight with Chapter 9, The Painting. The gondolier silently helped Jack and Annie into the boat. Then he untied the gondola and pushed off from the landing. As the boat glided through the shallow waters, Jack looked back at Venice. Bathed in early sunlight, the grand lady of the lagoon did seem timeless. The gondola moved around the bend and up the narrow canal near the walled garden. The gondolier tied the boat to a striped pole. He then offered his gloved hand to Annie to help her out of the boat. Annie climbed out, and the gondolier offered his hand to Jack. As the gondolier helped Jack onto the landing, the boat rocked in the water. Jack tripped, pulling the glove off the gondolier's hand. "Oh, sorry," said Jack. As he handed the glove back, he gasped. On the gondolier's finger was a pale blue glass ring. Before Jack could say anything, the gondolier pulled his glove back on and pushed the boat away from the landing. Hey, Jack spluttered. "Teddy, Kathleen, wait, come back." Neither of the masked people looked back at Jack and Annie. "Teddy and Kathleen? Where?" said Annie. "His glove, it came off. There was a blue glass ring on his finger," said Jack. Jack and Annie watched the gondola disappear into a blaze of sunlight shining on the water. Had it just glided around the bend, or had it vanished altogether? "Are you sure it was them?" said Annie. "Well, I guess anybody could wear a glass ring," said Jack. "But still." "Maybe Morgan and Merlin told them to watch over us," said Annie. "Yeah, to make sure we'd be safe," said Jack. "And be patient and follow instructions," said Annie. "Right," said Jack. "Well, Venice wasn't destroyed by a flood, so I guess we passed our first test." "I think we did," said Annie. With Lorenzo's canvas tucked under his arm, Jack led the way into the walled garden. Annie followed him to the rope ladder. When they climbed into the treehouse, Jack pulled Merlin's letter from his backpack. He unfolded it and pointed to the words, "Frog Creek." "I wish we could go there," he said. "Goodbye, Grand Lady of the Lagoon," said Annie. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. A nippy wind rustled the Frog Creek trees. Jack and Annie were wearing their jeans and jackets again. It was dawn. Annie sighed. "I wish we'd had a little more time to visit Venice," she said. "I'm glad Lorenzo gave us his painting to finish," said Jack. "That'll be like living our trip all over again." "Cool," said Annie. "We'd better leave Morgan's research book here," said Jack. He pulled the book out of his backpack and put it on the floor. "And this." He took out Teddy and Kathleen's book of magic rhymes. "Wait," said Annie. "Don't you think we should take the book of rhymes with us, for safekeeping?" Jack nodded. "We can't use them in Frog Creek," he said, "but we'll keep it safe till we go on our next mission." "That's what I was thinking," said Annie. "Come on, hurry before Mom and Dad wake up." Jack put the book of rhymes back into his pack. Carrying Lorenzo's canvas, Annie climbed down the ladder. Jack followed. As they walked through the chilly dawn woods, Annie held up Lorenzo's canvas. The shimmering light and waters of Venice looked just like they had in real life. "So what should we put in our painting?" she asked. "Gondolas, of course," said Jack, "with people in costumes." "Wearing black capes and bird masks," said Annie, "and fancy dresses and wigs." "And we could paint the clock tower in the background," said Jack, "with the two men striking the bell." "And the watchtower, too," said Annie, "with the gold angel on top." "And the ruler's palace," said Jack. "And the old man and Rosa walking along the canal," said Annie. "And, of course, Lorenzo." "And the lion flying across the sky," said Jack, "and Neptune's spear rising out of the water." "With Neptune himself peeking out," said Annie. "We'll show just the top of his head and his mysterious eyes." "That's a lot of stuff for one painting," said Jack. "We didn't even put ourselves in yet," said Annie. "We'll paint ourselves on the back of the lion," said Jack, "wearing our clown suits and red slippers." "Yeah, with huge smiles on our faces," said Annie, "like we're thinking, 'Wow, wow, wow.'" Jack laughed. A chilly dawn breeze swept through the bare trees. The bells of a Frog Creek church began to chime. Jack and Annie took off, running for home. And now, more facts about Venice. Venice has been called a timeless city as well as a city frozen in time. This is because so much of the city and its traditions have been preserved through time. The festival of Carnival goes back over 1,000 years in Venice, but it was most popular during the 1700s. Gondolas have glided along the waterways of Venice for over 1,000 years. In the 1700s, there were about 14,000 on the canals. Today, there are around 400. Saint Mark the Apostle is the patron saint of Venice. According to legend, the saint's corpse was stolen from its grave and brought to Venice in the 9th century. Since the traditional symbol of Saint Mark is a winged lion, that image is depicted all over the city in paintings and sculptures. In Saint Mark's Square alone, there are no fewer than 14. In Venice, there are approximately 3,000 alleys and 200 canals. Over 400 bridges connect 118 lagoon islands. Many world-famous painters are from Venice. Giovanni Battista Tiepolo is considered the most important of the 1700s. His two sons, Gian Domenico and Lorenzo, were also painters. Neptune is the Roman counterpart of the sea god Poseidon from Greek mythology. Neptune's three-pronged fish spear is called the trident. When astronomers named the planet Neptune, they chose the trident to be its symbol.